along to Autodrom Most for round 5 of the 2021 NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series NASCAR Pro Division. It's great to be back in the Czech Republic as we welcome fans back to a circuit that we last visited in 2019. It was missed off the 2020 calendar due to the COVID-19 pandemic. What's happened so far this season? Well, we opened our season at Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Spain, where Alain Day was going wheel to wheel with Loris Hasemans, the two former champions, side by side up towards turn 1 in the first race. But it would be Loris Hasemans, the 2019 champion, that would lead, with the reigning champion Alain Day having little choice but to slot into second place. The battle continued until Alain Day ran a little bit wide coming out of one of the corners, meaning that Loris Hasemans then was on course for victory number 1 of the season in the first of the 2 races at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Loris Hasemans would claim the win. He would also claim a win in the second race of the weekend as well, meaning that he would head to Brands Hatch in the UK as the early championship leader. At Brands Hatch, again, Alain Day and Loris Hasemans were rolling their sleeves up and slugging it out for the lead of the race, while Nicola Rocca had slotted himself through into third position. The Monster Energy-backed Chevy being hounded all of the way in the early stages by Loris Hasemans, but Alain Day would head towards victory lane for the 25th time in his career. In the second race of the weekend, Loris Hasemans was fighting away with Gianmarco Ercoli in the early stages, but Alain Day was able to nip through up into second position and then started to try and close on the 2019 champion. Problems though for Alain Day meant his car ran wide coming through turn 1 at Paddock Hill Bend. He would dig himself out of the gravel. There'd be a small amount of damage to the front end of the car, but it wouldn't end there. The following lap, oil being put onto the rear tyres caused a spin and retirement for the reigning champion. Not the weekend he wanted at Brands Hatch. So it would be Loris Hasemans that would come through to claim the win, his 3rd out of 4 races. A great start to the season. He will lead the championship by 20 points from Gianmarco Ercoli. A further 5 points to drift 3rd in the championship is Nicola Rocca as we head towards the Czech Republic. It's the same format as ever. EuroNASCAR Pro is for the professional drivers. Loris Hasemans leads the championship, and the young and the amateur drivers slot into EuroNASCAR 2, where the German Tobias Dauenhauer is the championship leader. The drivers are ready, the fans are ready, as they will head out around this 4.2 mile or 2.6 mile Autodrom Most. And just look how tightly packed some of the corners are through turns 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 flow from one side to the other. The EuroNASCAR Pro race will be held over 17 laps for round 5 of the championship. It was wet and tricky conditions in qualifying, but championship leader Loris Hasemans secured pole position.
But yeah, delighted. It was definitely tricky conditions because you really have to just get a feeling for it and sometimes just give it a try and hope that the grip is there, and sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. So this made it really exciting, but I'm delighted with this result.
In 2019 when we were here, it was 30 degrees, sunny and pretty hot in the cars, so the conditions are completely different. How is it to drive those cars on a fast track like this with those conditions, with the damn track?
You know, you said it's tricky. It really challenges the driver, obviously, because it's very easy to make a mistake. Yesterday in practice as well, the track was drying and I was pushing, and then I make a mistake in one of the infield corners. So it's really tricky, but definitely a lot of fun.
So great to hear from Loris Hasemans as he secures pole. Pulling up beside him is Jacques Villeneuve, who qualified second quickest. All the cars starting on a dry track, grey clouds above though. Loris Hasemans and Jacques Villeneuve row number 1. Sebastian Bleekie-Molen and the reigning champion Alain Day on row number 2. Buckle up, we're about to go green for the first time this weekend in EuroNASCAR Pro. The red lights go out, the green lights come on, and they charge their way up towards the tight right and left chicane at turn number 1 as we go on board with Sebastian Bleekie-Molen in 3rd position. A great qualifying from the Dutchman. His fellow countryman Loris Hasemans ahead of him. Contact between Sebastian Bleekie-Molen, that pitches Jacques Villeneuve into a spin. Thankfully, I think everybody's going to avoid him. Through the gravel trap goes Giorgio Maggi in his repainted car for this weekend. But Jacques Villeneuve all the way towards the tail end of the field, having started on the front row of the grid. Out of the hairpin, they start to accelerate their way as the speeds begin to build again, round through turn number 11 and 12, and then through the twisty sections already at turn 14 and 15. There is Romain Iniesta at the wheel of the 46 car, returning to the championship. Right behind him is the 1997 Formula 1 world champion Jacques Villeneuve, giving the Frenchman a thing or two to think about. Great battle going on for the lead of the race as Loris Hasemans just cannot shake away Vittorio Garelli, who's there in second place, and Sebastian Bleekemolen in third position. A few cars with the windscreen wipers going though already. The track is dry for the moment, but really the grey clouds above are starting to look ever more ominous now. Hasemans still continues to lead the way. It's a Ford 1, 2, 3 at the moment, and the leading Chevy is there in fourth position by the look of things, which will be Andrea Norri. We go on board the number 90 car of Andrea Norri, the Italian, trying to hunt down Sebastian Bleekemolen, looks for the inside line. You can see the rain on the windscreen now, and the number 90 car is now through and into third position. Great driving from Andrea Norri. He'll be relishing these conditions, the former World Rally Championship driver who's done lots of rallying over the years, including less contemporary machinery, lots of historic rallying. He's trying to hunt down second position that lies ahead. The brake lights come on Vittorio Garelli as Andre Norri tries around the outside at turn number 1. That would give him the inside line for turn number 2, the left-hand part of the chicane. That's contact. Andrea Norri tips Vittorio Garelli into a spin. Alan Day has to spin in sympathy as well. Cars pick their way, drivers left and drivers right. Alan Day tries to get going, but that forces, I think, Gianmarco Ercoli and Giorgio Maggi onto the gravel. I think everybody largely got away with that, and that has really now handed an increased advantage to Loris Hasemans, who leads the race still, but you can see the windscreen wiper going, the rain starting to fall and starting to get heavier, I'm afraid. So Loris Hasemans leads the race. There's the rain on the camera, just showing how difficult the conditions are starting to become. All of the cars on slick tyres, the Control Hoosier slick tyres, and with Loris Hasemans leading the race, Andrea Norri is now starting to close in ever more on the race leader. So Hasemans leads, Andrea Norri in second position, looking to try and hunt down the lead of the race if he can. They go nose to tail as they head out of the chicane and speed start to build onto some of the faster, more sweeping parts of the circuit. Andrea Norri looking for the inside line. Oh, bounces off the side of Loris Hasemans, but takes the lead in the process, and that's delayed Hasemans and might mean that Sebastian Bleekemolen goes through into second place. Look at the visibility. Look at how difficult the conditions are getting. There's more contact there, I think, as well. You can see the cars are really struggling to accelerate now. Hasemans dives for the pit lane. He is surely now decided it's time to change onto the wet control tyre that all of the cars run, but Bleekemolen and Andrea Norri continue around for a further lap. Now, you can race on slick tyres on a wet track, but as long as you've got tyre temperature, if there's too much water, you lose all tyre temp, and that's it then. It's like driving on a skating rink, and that's what these drivers could well be faced with in another lap or so. Andrea Norri and Sebastian Bleekemolen side by side for the lead of the race. Romain Iniesta in his return to the championship there in third place, and they are still side by side. Norri sticking his elbows out, desperate to try and hang on to the lead. More cars diving for the pit lane. You can see that some drivers now have just decided it's just too wet out there now. It was declared a wet race, which means that it really hands the tyre decision to the teams, and whatever tyre they start on is what they're going to have to either race on or come in and pit with. It looks as though Sebastian Bleekemolen has decided enough is enough. The 69 dives for the pit lane, which now means that Romain Iniesta at the wheel of that 46 Marco Steep Motorsport car goes through. Jacques Villeneuve still plodding on in the tricky conditions. Vittorio Garelli and Francesco Sini as well. And you can see the movements of the cars as they fight over fourth place, just how gentle they're having to go on the throttle. But there's still over 10 laps to go in this race, and in these conditions, can anybody brave it out on the slick tyres? You can see how slow they are going round through the corners and how much the cars are wiggling on acceleration as they short shift and try and stop the wheel spin coming out of the corners. They've got to stay off the curbs as well now, because it is now getting pretty much fully wet out there, and there's no sign of the rain abating yet either. Oh, off goes Romain Iniesta. He was in the lead of the race. Through goes Jacques Villeneuve, who is also on the grass, and Henry Turmala in the background also heads off the circuit. Look at the weather. They're on slick tyres in these conditions, and Jacques Villeneuve is still going to continue round in the wet. Fantastic stuff from the former Indy 500 winner, but surely the inevitable means he's going to have to come in. Alan Day is the leading car that has pitted for wet tyres. We're hearing Jacques Villeneuve is also in now pitting for wet, so that will mean Alan Day will pick up the lead of the race, and everybody has now moved off the slick tyre and onto the wets as the safety car comes out. So safety car is out because Francesco Sini's car, which has only just moved onto the wet tyre, has had an off and is in a dangerous spot. Safety car back in. We get the race back underway, and it looks as though it is Alan Day that is going to lead the way with Nicola Rocca there in second place and Gianmarco Ercoli in third for this this restart. And Mark Goossens is up into 4th place. Fantastic stuff from the Goose, who qualified down in 19th position, but using all of that enormous amount of experience that he's got to carve his way through the field in the tricky conditions. Pivotal part for some of these cars was the lap on which they pitted. If you pit on the right lap, just when it's getting to the point where you need to switch from the slick tyre to the wet tyre, you gain enormous advantage, and the roll of the dice for Cal has certainly worked, because it's a Cal 1-2 at the moment. Alan Day leading his teammate Gianmarco Ercoli. It's a Chevy 1-2-3 as well, because the DF1 Racing Chevy of Mark Goossens is there in 3rd place. But Alan Day, already top of the all-time winners list with 25 career wins, is looking good for career win number 26 here as he heads over the start-finish line, ready to take the checkered flag. It's Alan Day that claims the win from Gianmarco Ercoli in 2nd place, and the first podium of the season for Mark Goossens, who finishes in 3rd position. Alan Day goes towards victory lane. What a result for him and the team. Let's hear from the race winner.
Being able to overcome that, and the guys, immediately as the rain drops, the guys did an absolutely amazing job swapping the tires to rain. That was the victories belong to them. They did an amazing job in the pit stop, and I was just a passenger. It was extremely hard condition regarding the fact that the rain was so hard. But again, thanks to Cal Racing Team, thanks to Monster Energy, and everybody watching at home. I hope they had a spectacular race. I'm pretty sure it was. And yeah, thanks. I'm speechless. Thank you.
So a delighted Alan Day points towards his team, who helped him towards victory lane, and that was exactly what he wanted. The Junior Trophy for drivers aged under 25 went the way of Gianmarco Ercoli, and in the Challenger Trophy for amateur drivers in EuroNASCAR Pro, Henry Tuamala came out on top.